The Soviets just went ahead and designed entire ships around gigantic cruise missiles. Ships like the Kirov-class cruiser, and submarines like the Oscar-class. These things are massive, and the reason they're so massive is this missile, the P-700 Granite, also known by its NATO reporting name, Shipwreck. Cute, but also very appropriate, because this thing was designed to kill aircraft carriers. You see, during the Cold War, the US Navy developed these huge nuclear-powered supercarriers, which the Soviet Union simply couldn't match. Because if the USSR was a land superpower, well, the USA was an air and sea superpower. The Soviets just couldn't afford to build a navy to match the US on a like-for-like basis. So they went for the asymmetrical approach. You know, if the US is going to build these carriers to project power around the globe, the Soviets tried to build a defensive navy that was fine-tuned to counter these carriers. Essentially, if the Soviets couldn't win command of the sea, well, they could do everything possible to deny the sea to NATO forces. They do this partially through their submarine fleet, but also really big anti-ship missiles, because getting close to a carrier battle group is incredibly hard. So the missiles had to have extremely long range, if the platforms carrying them had any hope to not just die before they could even launch. So the Soviets made an even larger, longer range missile that could be launched from a ship, the Shipwreck. This thing dwarfed everything else out there at the time in terms of size, 10 meters long, its range, over 300 miles, and its payload, a 750 kilogram warhead, or just a 500 kiloton nuke. But it's not enough to launch just one of these, you need a salvo to saturate the enemy's missile defense and maximize your chances of a hit. Enter the Kirov-class cruiser, nuclear-powered, 28,000 tons, and armed with 20 shipwrecks, as well as a huge number of surface-to-air missiles, close-in guns, and a suite of anti-submarine weapons. You know, to hopefully let the ship get close enough to US carriers without being sunk by aircraft or submarines. Because the Kirov was originally designed as an anti-submarine vessel. It's just that, in the process of hunting down subs, it was likely to attract the attention of US carrier battle groups. In which scenario, the Kirov would have launched a massive barrage of missiles, potentially all 20 at the same time. These would fly at supersonic speed towards the carrier at very low level, with only a single missile popping up to a higher altitude every so often, using its sensors to track the target and transmitting that data to the other missiles, effectively guiding the whole swarm onto the target. This means that the enemy only really has a chance to pick up one missile on radar, and only for short periods when it pops up temporarily. If that missile does get shot down, well, another missile in the group can just take its place. Then the missiles close on the target, and remember there's up to 20 of them. Now the enemy only has a matter of seconds to engage them within visual range. But if just one of these gets through and gets a good hit on the carrier, with their massive warheads, it's potentially game over.